In this video lesson, you'll discover how to paint a flower in watercolor.
I will make an artwork of the hibiscus flower. This is the artwork which I will achieve by the end of this lesson. It is produced on a half sheet of high-quality watercolor paper. I will paint the flower one petal at a time, and in order to do this, I start with the alla prima wet into wet painting technique. To paint wet into wet, I first moisten the area of the paper surface on which I am about to paint, and I do this with a very light red tint. Whilst this tint is wet, I add more saturated red paint onto this area. The outline of the petal will have a sharp border. However, brush strokes inside will diffuse and spread out on the wet surface. You may notice that I do not fill the whole area in with paint, but leave some white gaps between brush strokes to depict any texture and highlights of the petal. For a much darker tone, I apply not red, but dark blue color. This gives a nice light-dark contrast, as well as a temperature contrast. The next petal will be painted in the same style, wet into wet. I am applying different red pigments, together with the blue paint, to depict the texture and the colors of the flower. You may see that, for solving the challenge of tonal values, I am not only painting in red pigments, but also introducing blue and violet colors. They are darker in tone and make the red colors stand out even more. To keep the artwork fresh, it is important not to overwork it. Using green paints as they come from the tube seldom works well for painting greenery. That is why, when it comes to painting green leaves, you may find it better to use other pigments. An open green color may look beautiful on the palette, but could easily turn your artwork into one made by a child who uses paints as they come from pans. To overcome this challenge, you have to learn how to paint green leaves without using green paint.